This week, Combs' attorney filed another appeal trying to get the rapper out on bail. This after a proposed $50 million bail package was rejected over concerns that Diddy is a danger to the community and could tamper with witnesses in this case.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang with some girls.
Man after my heart.
In a dramatic twist, Shud Diddy comes stood in court facing charges that could alter the course of his life. The packed courtroom was filled with anticipation as all eyes were on him. Despite the gravity of the moment, Diddy, dressed in a tan prison uniform, managed a brief smile toward the judge. His family, including his mother Janice and his children, sat quietly offering their support. As the tension grew, what happened next left everyone stunned.
Diddy's mother, Janice, was heckled while heading into court. And for the first time, his 6 oldest children, including 17-year-old twins Delilah and Jesse, arrived together to support their dad. Inside, Diddy was dressed in a tan prison-issued uniform. He smiled and waved to his family when he walked out of the holding cell. A trial has been set for May 5th, which is the same day as the Met Gala. At the center of today's status hearing, who leaked that brutal Cassie video? And could it get the entire case thrown out?
As Diddy entered the courtroom, he waved to his family, his demeanor surprisingly calm despite the gravity of the situation.
CNN's Kara Scannell is outside of the courthouse. Kara, tell us what happened.
So, Brianna, the judge has set a May 5th trial date for Sean Diddy Combs to face those charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation of prostitution. Now, Diddy was in court today. He entered the courtroom wearing a jail-issued outfit, a khaki long-sleeve shirt, pants. He was also shackled at the ankles. His family members were in the courtroom, his mother and most of his children. He had waved to them, blew a kiss to his mother, and one of his sons had raised and flexed his arm, his bicep, as though to show a sign of strength. Now, this hearing was mostly about procedural issues, working through some...
The judge scheduled Diddy's trial for May 5th, 2025, where he will face charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and the transportation of prostitution. The proceedings started with procedural matters focused on the evidence collected. Prosecutors disclosed that 96 devices had been seized from Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami properties, intensifying the seriousness of the case.
Weeks ago, he's been charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and fraud, and he has pleaded not guilty.
MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubens joins us now and has been following this case. So, Lisa, first off, what more did we learn from this hearing?
Well, we learned a couple of things. One, as you pointed out, that May 2025 trial, and it's expected to last roughly 4 weeks, 3 weeks for the prosecution, 1 week for the defense. We also learned that prosecutors seized almost 100 different electronic devices from Sean Combs between his homes and on his person.
As the trial date nears, Diddy's legal team has made striking allegations about a leaked video that allegedly shows him assaulting his ex-girlfriend Cassie. They claim the video was leaked by law enforcement to sway public opinion and bias the jury against him. The defense has called for an investigation into the leak, asserting that the prosecution only obtained the video after it was aired on CNN.
Any other place we should be looking at for motive?
You know, I think there's a lot of theories out there. This was on hotel security surveillance footage. Why did this not come out until now? You would imagine that if you were an employee at this hotel and you saw this footage, that the first call would be to the LAPD. Of course, we would never reveal our source or our sources.
CNN, Homeland Security, and the U.S. Attorney's Office all declined to comment. Diddy himself apologized after the videotape was released.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Today, one of Diddy's lawyers told us he is very strong and doing well. They're asking for a gag order in the case. But lawyer Gloria Allred, who represents Thalia Graves, who has also accused Diddy of rape, did speak outside court today.
What does it mean to go against someone who has such financial means such as Diddy?
Well, again, for any victim, knowing that the person they allege abused them or hurt them in some ways, to know that he's rich and powerful and famous and could use his celebrity power in some way, they worry.
Also here in court today, the judge ruled that Diddy will remain behind bars for now.
That means Diddy will be spending his 25th night in Brooklyn's notoriously tough metropolitan detention.
The judge did not issue an immediate ruling on the defense's request for an investigation, but stated that he would review the arguments from both sides. In the meantime, the defense also requested a gag order to prohibit the prosecution from discussing any grand jury evidence or non-public information ahead of the trial.
He is not going to decide today on whether they should have a hearing. He's going to let the sides file their legal briefs and their legal arguments on this. But one thing that Combs' lawyers did ask for is what they called a gag order. They want the prosecution to be stopped from talking about any grand jury evidence in this case or any non-public evidence. Now, prosecutors never really discussed that publicly before a trial. And the judge said, in fact, that because that is the rule, he said, is there any harm in imposing this? And the prosecutor had asked the judge to make it reciprocal to stop Combs' lawyers from saying anything more about any of the evidence in this case. They cited an interview that Combs' lawyer had given to TMZ in which he suggested that the government was trying to, he accused the government of making a takedown of a successful black man. They said they wanted him to stop talking about that. Combs' lawyer said that if this does go into place, these restrictions on statements, he would abide by it. So the judge asked him to draft what this order would be, send it to him, and he would sign it. So we will learn in the coming days of exactly the contours of what they're preventing.
Fueling the media storm, new details have surfaced about Diddy's notorious 4th of July fly white parties in the Hamptons. These events, frequented by celebrities and high-profile guests, were renowned for their extravagant and sometimes wild nature. One especially troubling account came from a man who as a child attended one of these parties and claimed to have witnessed drug use and inappropriate behavior.
You're a 6-year-old kid and you find yourself a guest there. Allison Hall has more.
Can you believe this 6-year-old boy was once a guest at Diddy's infamous white party? The disgraced mogul has his arm draped around a young Justin Livtowski back in 1999. Justin is now 31 and tells Inside Edition about taking that photo.
He put his arm around me in an uncomfortable way, close to areas that you shouldn't as a grown man.
He recalls what he saw at the party.
So I remember marijuana, and topless women. That's the two main things that I remember.
So, how'd he end up there? Well, his father, David Allen, was Diddy's photographer, snapping pictures of partygoers in the Hamptons. Justin's mom, Maya, was also there. She says the party was family-friendly at first, but then turned raunchy.
People were getting high. There were girls swimming topless, young-looking girls that were, not dressed. We moved to another part of the house so that he wouldn't be exposed to what was going on.
In later years, Diddy implemented a curfew for children.
The kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, because this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come.
I think he's a monster.
This week, Houston-based lawyer Tony Busby says more than 120 people are coming forward with claims Diddy sexually abused them.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15.
Did Diddy assault you in any way?
When you say assault, I don't know the exact definition, but he put his arm around me in an uncomfortable...
Diddy's legal troubles worsened as fresh allegations emerged from the son of his former photographer, who recounted unsettling encounters and inappropriate behavior at the infamous parties. Once celebrated as a glamorous host, Diddy's image is now clouded by these serious accusations. 7.
There has been negative propaganda put out about me that's not true, and has really tried to stain my legacy.
And we have more breaking news. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is accused of rape. A lawsuit by R&B singer Cassie claims that she was in a years-long relationship with Combs that also involved beatings.
Sean Diddy Combs has been hit with another lawsuit just as he settles his first. Now, the time Joy Dickerson-Neal claims that she was a victim of revenge porn, in addition to allegedly being drugged and sexually assaulted by the musician back in 1991.
Well, looking at this lawsuit, Cassie, she claims that her and Diddy had freak-off sessions.
You talking about the freak-off session where they used to do in the studio and all of that over different entertainers' houses and stuff? When we go to the club, we used to have these bottles, right? And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they've been to have something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff. So when you get up, they be like, don't touch them bottles right there and only drink them bottles right there. So we already knew what the drill was.
Thing you could imagine why somebody would want to fire somebody.
Can you give us a little?
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas.
Yes, this is P. Diddy with his pants down. And yes, this is a real photo. This is not AI. Apparently he was performing in front of a bunch of guys, but this is actually a real photo. This is the man that might lose everything. Today we're gonna dive deep into this question. Has his past finally caught?
Despite offering a substantial bail package backed by his Miami estate and strict monitoring conditions, the judge denied the request, citing Diddy as a potential threat to witnesses and a danger to the community. The judge pointed to the increasing number of disturbing allegations that have come to light.
Tupac Shakur's family is still seeking answers about the prolific rapper's 1996 murder. And in some rather surprising news, they have hired attorney Alex Spiro to investigate any possible connection to Sean Diddy Combs.
The family of the late rapper Tupac Shakur has hired a team of investigators to look into what they say is a link between Sean Diddy Combs and the murder of the hip-hop star in 1996.
Spiro, known for representing Alec Baldwin in his recent Rust legal case, will now focus on whether Diddy had a role in Tupac's death.
Do you think that he may have actually had anything to do with the death of Tupac?
Well, there's always been talk about Diddy being involved in that.
Tupac was killed in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas in 1996, a case that remains unsolved. However, in September 2023, Las Vegas police arrested Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, who was described as the, quote, mastermind, though not the shooter. Davis has pleaded not guilty and will stand trial in March 2025. Court documents reveal that Davis previously claimed Diddy offered up to $1 million for Tupac's murder.
The man now charged with orchestrating that hit has claimed that Diddy paid to have Tupac.
Diddy's attorney, Anthony Rigo, spoke about his client adjustment to life and incarceration, stressing the emotional strain it has caused. Rigo emphasized the crucial role of family support during this challenging period and acknowledged the difficulties Diddy faces in staying positive. While in prison, this sentiment is shared by many familiar with the harsh conditions of the Metropolitan Detention Center in.
Now over to New York City. Just a short time ago, lawyers for Sean P. Diddy Combs spoke to reporters after today's court hearing. It's pretty brief, but let's listen.
How's he doing?
I can never remember what I said over here.
How's he doing?
He's doing fine. Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. So sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get. And so he's making an adjustment. He had his family here today to support him. We really want to put an end to all of the clowning that we see on the internet. This is a serious proceeding with serious consequences, and all of us are addressing it accordingly.
Anthony, is it a racist proceeding, as Marcus said?
He's okay to stay with these people now? He doesn't want to...
Nobody's okay with staying in jail for now.
What conditions does he want to do?
Okay, thank you very much. That's it for today.
Video and the feds. All right, short comments from P. Diddy's lawyers. He said, in part, that these are serious proceedings with serious consequences. We'll continue to monitor everything coming from the courthouse there, and we'll bring...
Lot took a new turn when it was disclosed that federal prosecutors were considering filing additional charges. The investigation seemed to be widening with more evidence, and potential defendants emerging. This development hinted that the upcoming trial could become even more complex and drawn out.
36 different devices were seized, 29 were extracted, and in LA, 51 devices were seized, 24 have been extracted. They say the 8 terabytes of data, that information could come about in the next 2 weeks or so, and they're working on the production, another production of the subpoena returns. And so the defense pretty much didn't object to too much inside the courtroom today. Agnifilo also appeared kind of confident during his arguments. I know a lot of people were kind of expecting for the bail or bond argument to be happening, but that didn't happen. And it appeared that the defense kind of, I'm trying to find the right word here, but they were pretty much complying with all the prosecution's arguments and plan to kind of have everything all good and set to go by May. Now, by the time the end of the year is to happen. Oh, I forgot, like, one big turn right here. They did mention that a potential superseding indictment could come. Now, obviously that hasn't happened yet, but the investigation is still ongoing. And so, we don't know a lot of information as far as what that could look like, but it appears that we could expect more charges to come later on, potentially by the...
Throughout the proceedings, Diddy's celebrity status and influence were unmistakable. His high-profile connections and considerable wealth became central themes in the narrative, with both the prosecution and defense utilizing these factors to their advantage. Attorney Gloria Allred, representing several alleged victims, stressed that fame should not protect anyone from facing the consequences of their actions.
Gloria Allred is representing some of Diddy's accusers. Our Michelle Fisher sat down with Allred to speak exclusively about the atmosphere surrounding the high-profile case.
It's really all about power and abuse of power.
Prominent attorney Gloria Allred, who has represented accusers of Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and R. Kelly, speaking exclusively with Eyewitness News. She now represents an undisclosed number of Sean Diddy Combs' alleged victims, including Talia Graves.
The trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health.
Tonight's 2020 special, The Secret Life of Diddy, detailing Combs' fall as he faces individual and class action lawsuits and federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, forced sex trafficking, and prostitution. He's pleaded not guilty, his attorney saying prosecutors are seeking to criminalize sex that was consensual.
Consent is a big issue, and it is the government's burden in a criminal case to prove any charge and all charges beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a very high burden.
Diddy's ongoing incarceration highlighted the gravity of the charges and the court's dedication to ensuring justice regardless of the defendant's status. His lawyers contended that he posed no flight risk due to his fame and suggested strict conditions for his release. However, the judge remained unconvinced, stressing the importance of maintaining the integrity of the legal process. 12.
Extra has obtained the new 31-page document Diddy's lawyers just filed with the court, pleading their case to win his freedom on a $50 million bail. Inside the papers, Diddy's lawyers insist he is not a flight risk, calling him one of the most recognizable people on earth. Its attorneys revealed he paid off the $18 million he owed on his $48 million South Florida mansion in August, 2 weeks before his arrest, so it can be used for collateral. They insist if Combs is allowed out before trial, a third-party security force would monitor him 24/7 by GPS, with video cameras on him the entire time if necessary. He would also have no access to phones or the internet. 2 other judges have already denied Diddy's release. His appearance before a judge is the latest high-stakes, high-dollar legal maneuver. It comes after dozens of new accusers made disturbing new accusations and after the government announced its jaw-dropping allegations against him.
The freak-off sometimes lasted days at a time.
The case against Sean Combs might as well just be called the freak-offs.
Tonight, ABC's Secret Life of Diddy is taking a deep dive into the case.
Sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
And now, legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer is exposing what they found.
The baby oil, the guns, the videos, the corroborating statements from multiple alleged victims. There's so much to uncover in this.